Today, we continue our discovery of the Alps and take you to visit two villages, both bearing the signature of Vauban. We begin our visit with the village of Briançon. Let's take a stroll through the fortified city, and we discover the collegiate church of Notre Dame. A first church dating back to the 15th century was destroyed in 1692. Vauban, in charge of the reconstruction of the fortifications, personally sent the plans for a new church. The construction, which began in 1705, faced some challenges. Indeed, the architect, a protégé of Vauban, disappeared after taking a significant advance on the payment along with the plans. After being found, he built the church under the supervision of Vauban himself. The church was completed in 1718 and consecrated in 1726. After leaving the church, we stroll along the ramparts and enjoy the magnificent view. Briançon is a popular destination for winter sports with numerous ski resorts in the surrounding area. You can also watch our film about the Serre Chevalier Valley. The link is in the description. In the Citadel, located in the upper part, we discover a town filled with restaurants and souvenir shops. The fortifications, signed by Vauban, date back to the 17th century and have been listed as UNESCO World Heritage since 2008. These structures are part of the network of 12 major sites of Vauban that have been granted this international distinction. The village of Briançon has just under 12,000 inhabitants and is surrounded by mountains, offering magnificent views of the Alps. It's also the highest town in the country, perched at an altitude of 1,326 meters. We are heading towards the asphalt bridge. Vauban made two visits of Briançon. The first visit was after the attack of the Duke of Savoy, who has joined the League of Augsburg in 1692, and the second visit was during peacetime in 1700. It was after this second visit that he drafted a new fortification project for the city of Briançon. During the War of Spanish Succession, the exterior works planned by Vauban were constructed with fascines filled with earth, and the wooden bridge built in 1708 was only a footbridge accessible by a pedestrian path. In 1720, it was dedicated to occupy the high grounds. Marshal d'Asfeld, a renowned military engineer, of the time who succeeded Vauban as the Director General of Fortifications, decided to construct a masonry bridge. It's one of the three bridges that cross the Durance River in the region, and it is renowned for its historical and architectural importance. It's a true work of art, combining technical prowess and aesthetics, and was built to provide a link between the upper town and the forts located on the left bank of the Durance. The structure of the asphalt bridge is impressive, consisting of a single semicircular arc spanning over 38 meters and rising to nearly 55 meters above the bed of the Durance River. The bridge was used for military purposes, especially during the conflicts of the 18th and 19th centuries. It served as a strategic passage for troops and an essential means of communication between different parts of the region. The bridge offers us a journey through time, into the heart of the history of the region, where the past harmoniously blends with the mountainous landscape of today. In Briançon, there are also other forts, such as the Fort des Salettes overlooking the city, the Fort des Trois Têtes, which is the pivot of the city's defensive system, the Fort Dauphin, designed as an advanced sentinel of the fortification chain, and the Fort de Randouillet, which is developed on three platforms. Its main role was to prevent attacks from the ridges. After our morning in Briançon, we head towards Mont-Dauphin, a citadel entirely built by Vauban. Mont-Dauphin is an architectural gem nestled in the heart of the French Alps. The citadel has been classified as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2008. This fortified citadel is a well-preserved masterpiece that bears witness to the military engineering of the 17th century. In 1692, during the War of the League of Augsburg, the region was once again invaded by the troops of Victor Amédée II, Duke of Savoy. Vauban was then tasked with building a strong fortress capable of blocking the enemy and ensuring the safety of the population. Vauban chose the deserted plateau of Milor, Thousand Winds, located at an altitude of over 1,000 meters at a strategic crossroads of valleys to build a fortress that he named Mont-Dauphin in honor of the king's son. The constant wind blowing in the area made it difficult for anything to grow, and Vauban had to face this inhospitable climate in order to sustain soldiers in the heart of the mountains. Our visit to Mont-Dauphin begins with a panoramic view of the Citadel perched on a rocky spur and surrounded by majestic mountains. The Citadel was built by the famous military engineer Vauban from Louis XIV with the aim of protecting the border between France and Italy. It's surrounded by fortifications, bastions and ramparts, offering an impressive sight. Strolling through the picturesque alleys of Mont-Dauphin is a real pleasure for architecture enthusiasts. You can discover stone houses, vaulted passages, and elaborately carved and shaped doors. The whole ensemble is a remarkable testament to the military architectural style of the time. You can also find relics from past markets, such as tools used to measure ropes or hollowed-out stones used to measure quantity of seeds sold. We arrive at the barracks. The building consists of 5 blocks, each with 3 levels of vaulted rooms, as well as a basement as an attic floor. The construction of the casemates began around 1770 and was completed in 1782. In the same year, the engineer Frémont decided to build a large flying buttress supporting a staircase that provides access to the upper terrace of the building in order to contain the thrust of the vaults of the building blocks. The structure was completed in 1783-1784. Between 1819 and 1823, Captain Massillon, chief of the engineering corps, covered the original flat roof with a modular wooden framework known as Philibert Delorme. Thus, the 255 meters of the framework are made up of multiple modular wooden pieces that allow for complete dismantling. This space was designed to be versatile, serving as a warehouse and for training soldiers in cover on an area of 2,000 square meters. It now hosts exhibitions. The powder magazine, which was included in Vauban's initial plan in 1662, was completed in 1694. Consisting of 2 rooms, it contains nearly 100 tons of black powder. A sloping arch ship is built on each side of the building to serve as a drawing gallery. Everything is made of wood and stone with no metal parts. The arsenal was originally intended in the 17th century to defend against an invasion from Italy. In 1713, the Italian border moved away, stripping it of its strategic significance. The only damage suffered in 3 centuries was the bombing of one wing of the arsenal during World War II. The lower hall of the arsenal can now host your private events. The hall is composed of thick walls, and on the vault, there is a cross with the inscription dating back to 1784 and Louis XVI. On the floor, there are marble stones with embedded fossils. As for the upper floor, it hosts temporary exhibitions and features models, including the famous Philibert Delorme's carpentry of the barracks, one of the city of Mont-Dauphin, and one of the church, as originally planned. Not far from there, in the church, the construction of the parish church of Mont-Dauphin, dedicated to Saint Louis, King of France, began between 1697 and 1699 after the initial fortification works of the site. It should be noted that the king insisted that his soldiers attend church. The foundations were dug between 1697 and 1699, and the first stone was blessed on July 20, 1700, a few months before Vauban's visit, who approved the design of the project. In 1713, the Treaty of Utrecht interrupted the works. The border moved away and funds became scarce. Construction slowed down and then stopped. As a result, the church was never completed. From the fortress, we admire the seamost waterfall, which is 50 meters high. Mont-Dauphin once had 1,000 soldiers and up to 400 civilians, but the city never reached the 2,000 inhabitants that Vauban had hoped for. We continue our journey towards the petrifying fountain of Réaudier, which is located on the other side of the Durance River. The water, coming from a source higher up, flows over various circular basins, forming water pools underneath. With a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, the water is thermomineral. It's rich in gypsum, sulfate, warm calcareous calcium carbonate, magnesium, and salt. And we end our day enjoying a magnificent sunset at the lake Serre, which is close to Mont-Dauphin. See you soon for new discoveries.